What if some of Hollywood's biggest financial disasters were also among its most glamorous movies? These films had magnetic stars, charged chemistry, daring costumes, and scenes designed to make audiences stare, yet theaters stayed strangely empty. Tonight, we rank 20 seductive box office bombs that deserved far more attention. Before we begin, like this video, share it with another movie fan, and subscribe to the channel. Number 20. Head in the Clouds, 2004. The camera enters this story through luxury, candlelight, expensive clothes, and the impossible confidence of Gilda Bessé, played by Charlize Theron. Set across the troubled years before and during the Second World War, the film follows Gilda, Irish teacher Guy, and Spanish refugee Mia, as desire, politics, and loyalty pull them in opposite directions. Its most memorable passages unfold inside Gilda's Paris apartment, where parties glow warmly while the outside world grows darker. The glamour is not decoration, it becomes a shield these characters use against fear. Penélope Cruz gives Mia a quieter magnetism, while Theron makes Gilda appear untouchable, even when her choices are destroying her. The film earned only about $3.4 million worldwide, an astonishingly small result for a romantic drama with two major stars. Audiences expecting a simple love story instead found a sad, morally complicated tale about people trying to remain beautiful while history becomes increasingly ugly. That tension is exactly why the movie still lingers. Number 19. The Hot Spot, 1990. Heat rises from every frame as drifter Harry Maddox arrives in a Texas town looking for money, danger, and an easy escape. Dawn Johnson plays him with arrogance, but the electricity comes from two women who understand him completely. Virginia Madsen's Dolly is bold, calculating, and impossible to ignore, while Jennifer Connelly's Gloria appears gentle until the town's secrets close around her. The famous swimming scene captures the movie's mood: sunlight, silence, temptation, and the feeling that somebody is watching. Meanwhile, Harry plans a bank robbery, becomes trapped by blackmail, and discovers that attraction can be more dangerous than any weapon. Directed by Dennis Hopper, the film moves like an overheated noir dream rather than a normal thriller. Yet it collected only about $1.2 million domestically. Perhaps audiences wanted faster suspense. What they received was slower, stranger, and more poisonous. A story where every smile hides a demand, and every escape route leads back to Dolly. Enjoying the countdown? Subscribe now, because the most expensive and visually stunning disasters are still ahead. Also, share the video, and let us know which overlooked bomb you would defend without apology. Number 18. Bandidos, 2006. Few westerns have introduced their heroes with this much playful confidence. Salma Hayek and Penélope Cruz play Sarah and Maria, two women from opposite social worlds who unite after a ruthless American businessman begins stealing Mexican land. One is educated and polished, the other is impulsive and practical. Their clashing personalities create the comedy, but their screen presence gives the movie sparkle. A standout sequence has the pair learning how to rob banks under the guidance of investigator Quentin Cook, turning criminal training into a battle of pride, timing, and flirtation. The plot then races through disguises, horseback escapes, and increasingly bold robberies as they target the empire hurting their families. Despite a reported $35 million production budget, the film made roughly $19 million worldwide. That failure is surprising, because the concept is instantly sellable. Two international stars, a bright adventure, and a western that refuses to take itself too seriously. It may not be historically deep, but it is lively, stylish, and far more charming than its forgotten reputation suggests. Much of the fun comes from watching Sarah and Maria transform from rivals into a team. Their robberies fail because each wants to prove she is the leader. Gradually, their differences become useful. Sarah understands wealthy institutions, while Maria reads people and physical danger. The bright landscapes reject dusty seriousness, giving the rebellion a bright, cheerful rhythm. That lightness may have confused viewers expecting a harder western. Number 17. Jade, 1995. Behind polished offices and elegant San Francisco homes lies a mystery built on powerful people protecting dangerous secrets. David Caruso plays Assistant District Attorney David Corelli, who investigates a shocking case connected to wealthy clients, political influence, and a mysterious woman known as Jade. Linda Fiorentino dominates as Katrina Gavin, Corelli's former lover and the wife of his closest friend. Her calm expression turns every conversation into an interrogation. The signature car chase tears through steep streets, crowded intersections, and a parade, giving the controlled thriller a sudden burst of chaos. Around that sequence, Corelli keeps discovering evidence that points uncomfortably close to Katrina. William Friedkin shoots the city with expensive darkness, rainy windows, shadowed rooms, silk dresses, and faces that never reveal enough. Financially, it was a severe disappointment, earning under $10 million worldwide against a reported $50 million budget. Critics attacked its confusing mystery, but the atmosphere remains fascinating. It looks like a prestige thriller being poisoned from inside, with Fiorentino making every denial sound almost convincing. The mystery becomes uncomfortable because Corelli is never emotionally neutral. His history with Katrina affects every question and conclusion. Chaz Palminteri's Matt Gavin complicates matters as both husband and friend, creating a triangle where loyalty interferes with evidence. Even when the final explanation divides viewers, the journey stays deeply charged by suspicion. Nobody enters a room without private knowledge, and nobody leaves looking completely innocent to anyone. Number 16. Femme Fatale, 2002. Nothing announces Brian De Palma's intentions more clearly than the opening jewel robbery at the Cannes Film Festival. While photographers crowd a celebrity premiere, Laura Ashe helps execute an elaborate theft involving a diamond-covered costume, hidden identities, and a timed betrayal. Rebecca Romijn plays Laura as a woman who treats appearance like a weapon and reinvention like survival. After escaping with the jewels, she steals another identity, disappears, and later returns to Paris as the wife of an American diplomat. Antonio Banderas becomes Nicolas, the photographer whose picture threatens to expose her. Their pursuit creates a maze of surveillance, deception, attraction, and images that may not mean what they first suggest. The famous final stretch reorders earlier events, revealing that fate, fantasy, and choice have been tangled together. Made for about $35 million, it earned under $17 million worldwide. That collapse helped bury one of De Palma's most visually playful films. It is glossy, mischievous, and proudly artificial, a thriller behaving like a dream in an expensive disguise. De Palma fills the film with doubles, reflections, split screens, and images, encouraging viewers to distrust chronology. Laura's power comes from understanding how people look at her and supplying whatever story they expect. Nicolas believes a photograph captures truth, but the movie proves an image can create danger instead. Its failure seems less mysterious when considering how it rejects conventional logic, yet that refusal gives it fascination. Number 15. Original Sin, 2001. A Cuban merchant believes he has ordered a marriage, but the woman stepping off the ship is nothing like the photograph he received. That arrival begins a romance built on performance. Antonio Banderas plays Luis, a man desperate for love, while Angelina Jolie's Julia appears mysterious and more experienced than she admits. Their mansion scenes are filled with candlelight, fabrics, and intimacy, but the story soon becomes a con game. Julia disappears with Luis's money, and he follows her into a criminal world shaped by her controlling partner, Billy. One striking moment comes when Luis realizes he would rather accept Julia's lies than return to an empty life. That choice turns revenge into something darker and more romantic. The picture earned about $16.5 million domestically against a reported $26 million budget. Audiences may have expected a straightforward thriller and rejected its melodrama. Yet its excess is the attraction. Every room feels overheated. Every promise sounds suspicious. And Jolie plays Julia as both victim and architect of disaster. The emotional engine is Luis's willingness to be deceived. He begins as a wealthy man believing marriage cures loneliness, but Julia exposes how little control money gives him. Their journey moves from luxury into gambling rooms, stations, and criminal hideouts, stripping away his identity. Thomas Jane's Billy adds menace because he treats affection as ownership. The final act asks whether love can survive after trust has vanished. Number 14. Color of Night, 1994. After a patient's death leaves psychologist Bill Kappa shaken and unable to see red, he travels to Los Angeles and enters another doctor's therapy group. Soon that colleague is dead, the patients are hiding secrets, and Bill becomes involved with the mysterious Rose. Bruce Willis plays the confused investigator, but Jane March supplies the movie's hypnotic uncertainty. She seems playful in one scene, frightened in the next, and possibly connected to every clue. The best-known sequence is less about plot than atmosphere. Bill and Rose drifting through a pool while danger appears distant. Around them, the film builds a wild puzzle involving false identities, jealousy, and a killer targeting the group. The final revelations are famously complicated, yet director Richard Rush commits to bold colors, glass walls, nighttime Los Angeles, and operatic suspense. The movie earned under $20 million domestically and was mocked on release. Still, few studio thrillers now look this unapologetically excessive. It is glossy, overheated, and strange enough to remain watchable long after safer hits faded. Its title refers to Bill's condition and the movie's obsession with perception. Because he cannot recognize red, warning signs become invisible, while Rose keeps changing according to whoever is watching. The therapy patients provide motives, turning group sessions into showcases of anger and fear. Viewers laughed at the excess, yet the production understands that a feverish mystery should feel unstable. Ordinary realism would have ruined its spell. Number 13. Fair Game, 1995. A routine legal case becomes a runaway nightmare when Miami attorney Kate McQueen is targeted by intelligence operatives. Cindy Crawford plays Kate with confidence, while William Baldwin's detective Max Kirkpatrick becomes the officer trying to keep her alive. The story rushes through apartment attacks, hotel escapes, computer surveillance, and narrow rescues, rarely pausing long enough for either character to trust the other. Its most remembered image is the pair racing through the city as explosions transform glamorous Miami into a trap. Their chemistry is built through pressure. Every argument is interrupted by another attack, and every quiet moment suggests the danger has changed location. The production reportedly cost around $50 million, yet it earned roughly $26 million worldwide. Crawford's casting became the entire conversation, and audiences dismissed the film before noticing its slick photography and practical action. It is not subtle, but subtlety was never the goal. Fair Game wants to be a fashion advertisement trapped inside a conspiracy thriller, and that strange combination gives it undeniable late-night appeal. What makes the film appealing today is its commitment to momentum. Cars crash, windows shatter, hotel rooms become traps, and the leads enter spaces where appearances cannot protect them. Crawford's inexperience is visible, but that stiffness suits Kate, an attorney pushed into an action movie. Baldwin brings humor to the protector role, keeping arguments lively. The result feels like a glossy artifact from a vanished studio era. Number 12. Barbed Wire, 1996. In a future America broken by civil conflict, the toughest nightclub owner in Steel Harbor wants no part of anybody's revolution. Pamela Anderson plays Barb, a former fighter who now sells information, enforces her rules, and protects the people inside her club. The movie opens with a stage performance that declares its comic book attitude, but the plot soon reveals a deliberate Casablanca-style structure. Barb's former lover arrives with a scientist who may help end the war, forcing her to choose between neutrality and a cause she abandoned. The best scenes place her in leather, chrome, smoke, and industrial shadows, while mercenaries underestimate her. She rides a motorcycle through checkpoints, trades insults with corrupt officials, and turns the harbor into a battlefield. The film earned under $4 million domestically and disappeared quickly. Its dialogue and world-building are rough, yet the production design has personality. What failed as a serious action launch later became enjoyable camp, a glamorous, loud, proudly ridiculous movie that knows exactly which image belongs on the poster. Anderson's performance works best when Barb appears tired rather than invincible. Beneath the attitude is someone who once believed in resistance and paid heavily for it. Temuera Morrison's Axel represents that abandoned past, while the hunted scientist forces loyalties into the open. The nightclub becomes neutral territory, filled with refugees, opportunists, and performers. When war reaches that space, Barb can no longer pretend survival alone is a victory. Number 11. Basic Instinct 2, 2006. Years after her first investigation, novelist Catherine Tremell reappears in London, following a dangerous late-night drive that leaves detectives asking whether an accident was truly accidental. Sharon Stone returns with complete control, delivering every line as though she already knows what everyone will do. Psychiatrist Michael Glass is asked to evaluate her, but professional curiosity becomes obsession, as Catherine studies his weaknesses and turns his respectable life against him. The interview scenes are the attraction. Catherine sits calmly while lawyers, doctors, and police officers struggle to maintain authority, and her smallest smile changes the room. Later twists suggest that nearly every confession may be another chapter in a story she is writing. Despite a reported $70 million budget, the sequel earned only about half that amount worldwide. The long delay after the original, harsh reviews, and changing audience tastes doomed it. Yet Stone's performance remains fearless. She understands that Catherine is most dangerous when doing almost nothing, allowing everyone around her to create the scandal she merely suggests. The sequel relocates the franchise from San Francisco to London, replacing noir warmth with glass offices and clinical wealth. David Morrissey plays Glass, as a man convinced that intelligence will protect him, making his downfall inevitable. Catherine never needs to overpower him physically, she only encourages his vanity. The central pleasure is watching certainty dissolve, as each new clue explains her, then creates another reason to doubt everyone. Number 10. The Avengers, 1998. British elegance becomes gloriously strange from the moment secret agent John Steed meets Emma Peel inside a world of perfect tea, mechanical bees, and weather controlled by a theatrical villain. Ralph Fiennes plays Steed with formal calm, while Uma Thurman turns Peel into the film's visual center, smart, athletic, stylish, and never impressed by the madness around her. They investigate Sir Auguste de Winter, played by Sean Connery, who plans to hold governments hostage by controlling the climate. The most famous scene may be the villainous board meeting, where conspirators wear giant teddy bear costumes, an image so bizarre that it nearly explains the movie's reputation by itself. Yet other sequences are genuinely beautiful. Peel moving through a maze, sword fights inside grand estates, and Steed driving through an unreal storybook England. The production cost about $60 million and earned under $49 million worldwide. Studio cuts reportedly left the story abrupt, and audiences expecting straightforward espionage found surreal comedy instead. Still, its fashion, production design, and cool chemistry deserve another look. This is not convincing reality. It is a glossy dream of British sophistication collapsing into expensive nonsense. Viewed with the right playful, forgiving mood, that failure becomes the entertainment. Thurman plays Peel as both scientist and action hero, without allowing Steed's charm to reduce her authority. Their relationship depends on restraint. A raised eyebrow or poured cup of tea replaces conventional romance. Connery enjoys playing De Winter as a man who considers weather itself a luxury product. The images therefore support the theme. Powerful people are turning nature, manners, and identity into elaborate private games for amusement. Number 9. Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow, 2004. Golden Age glamour was rebuilt inside computers for this ambitious adventure, placing Jude Law, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Angelina Jolie in a world that looks like a moving pulp magazine cover. Reporter Polly Perkins investigates missing scientists, just as enormous robots march through New York. Her former lover, pilot Joe Sullivan, rescues the city and reluctantly joins her search. Their bickering carries the film. Polly wants the story, Joe wants the truth, and neither wants to admit how much they enjoy the chase. A standout sequence introduces Jolie's commander Frankie Cook aboard a flying aircraft carrier, complete with an eye patch, immaculate uniform, and absolute authority. From there, the heroes travel through snowy laboratories, underwater bases, and a hidden island, while trying to stop the mysterious Totenkopf. The film earned just under $50 million worldwide, against a $70 million budget. Its digital technique, revolutionary at the time, may have made viewers feel emotionally distant, and the marketing struggled to explain its retro tone. Today, however, the artificial backgrounds feel purposeful, rather than unfinished. It is romantic, elegant, and unusually sincere about old-fashioned adventure. A beautiful experiment, punished for arriving before audiences fully understood its visual language, and deeply nostalgic, old Hollywood cinematic ambitions today. Polly's camera is almost as important as Joe's airplane. She risks the mission to preserve evidence, only to discover she has used all her film on moments. That joke receives a payoff when she must decide which image matters. Giovanni Ribisi's Dex and Bai Ling's Assassin add pulp energy, while Laurence Olivier appears through archival manipulation. The technique is artificial, but the affection behind it feels completely genuine. Number 8. The Spirit, 2008. Every shadow looks painted, every street shines like wet ink, and nearly every character enters as though posing for a dangerous perfume advertisement. Gabriel Macht plays the Spirit, a masked protector mysteriously connected to Central City, while Samuel L. Jackson's Octopus pursues immortality with increasingly outrageous costumes. The film surrounds them with Eva Mendes, Scarlett Johansson, Sarah Paulson, Paz Vega, and Jaime King, turning comic book noir into a parade of glamorous suspects, allies, and enemies. Its most famous scene is probably the muddy fight between the Spirit and the Octopus, where brutal action becomes slapstick as toilets, statues, and oversized weapons enter the battle. Elsewhere, Sans Serif walks from the water carrying stolen treasure, and Silken Floss assists the villain with icy professionalism. The plot concerns ancient blood, mistaken containers, and the spirit's complicated romantic past, but style always matters more than logic. Made for about $60 million, it earned around $39 million worldwide. Audiences compared it unfavorably with Sin City, yet its failure has eccentric charm. Frank Miller did not create a believable world. He created a feverish fashion comic where everyone speaks in captions. The result is wonderfully messy, but almost never visually boring, ordinary, or timid. The spirit is less a hero than a romantic who believes the city speaks to him. His connection with Sans Serif reaches back to childhood, giving their conflict regret beneath the poses. Meanwhile, the octopus treats villainy as performance art, changing uniforms as casually as moods. The approach irritated viewers seeking realism, yet the movie becomes easier to enjoy as live-action illustration, full of bodies and theatrical dialogue. Number 7. The Neon Demon, 2016. Beauty is presented not as a gift, but as a dangerous resource in Nicholas Winding Refn's icy Los Angeles nightmare. Elle Fanning plays Jessie, a quiet teenager who arrives with little experience and immediately attracts photographers, designers, and rival models. At first, she appears overwhelmed by the industry. Then a runway audition changes her. Standing beneath blue light and mirrored shapes, Jessie sees an idealized version of herself and begins accepting the power everyone else has already noticed. That sequence is the film's visual center. Music, color, and reflection replace normal dialogue as innocence turns into confidence. Jenna Malone, Bella Heathcote, and Abby Lee surround her with fascination that gradually becomes resentment. The plot grows darker as the women decide that beauty can be stolen, consumed, or destroyed, pushing the fashion world metaphor into surreal horror. Produced for about $7.5 million, the movie earned only around $3.5 million worldwide. Its slow pace and shocking final act drove mainstream viewers away, yet nobody could accuse it of looking cheap. Every hotel room, photo studio, and empty mansion feels designed to expose a different form of hunger. It is less a conventional thriller than a cruel, moving portrait of people worshipping an image until the image begins worshipping itself. Jessie's rise is frightening because she does nothing to earn it beyond being seen. Agents forgive her inexperience, photographers dismiss models, and designers reorganize rooms around her face. The other women know the industry's praise is temporary, making their jealousy understandable. Ruby initially seems protective, yet her loneliness becomes appetite. The final images turn consumption into a literal statement. This world does not admire beauty, it processes it. Number 6. Aeon Flux, 2005. 4 centuries after disease has nearly ended humanity, the survivors live inside Bregna, a seemingly perfect city controlled by Chairman Trevor Goodchild. Charlize Theron plays Aeon, a rebel operative assigned to eliminate him, but the mission uncovers memories and connections that challenge everything she believes. The movie's appeal begins with movement. Aeon slips through gardens filled with hidden blades, crosses security systems using acrobatic precision, and wears futuristic costumes that make the entire city feel like an architectural fashion show. One especially memorable sequence involves grass that becomes a weapon, turning a peaceful landscape into a trap without warning. Another reveals Sathandra's unusual physical abilities during an infiltration, emphasizing how far this society has altered the human body. Beneath the action, the story is about cloning, infertility, and a government repeating lives rather than allowing humanity to change. The film cost about $55 million and earned roughly $54 million worldwide, far below what a major science fiction release needed after marketing and theater costs. Production troubles and poor reviews buried it quickly. Still, its clean design, female-led action, and melancholy romance distinguish it from louder futuristic films. It may stumble as an adaptation, but as a collection of elegant science fiction images, it remains strangely difficult to forget. The relationship between Aeon and Trevor gives the conspiracy a center. She is trained to see him as a dictator, while he recognizes something in her that neither side can explain. Their discoveries reveal that rebellion and government have acted with incomplete information. Martin Chokas plays Trevor with restraint, allowing uncertainty to replace villainy. That ambiguity supports the question, is an endless manufactured life truly survival at all? Number 5. Catwoman, 2004. Few superhero films have been mocked more aggressively, yet few failures are this visually committed to turning movement, costume, and attitude into the entire attraction. Halle Berry plays Patience Phillips, a shy cosmetics company employee who discovers that her employer's new beauty product hides a deadly secret. After she is silenced, Mysterious cats restore her with heightened senses, confidence, and a new identity. The transformation scene changes the movie's rhythm completely. Patience cuts her hair, rebuilds her wardrobe, and begins moving through the city with exaggerated freedom, as though the timid woman from earlier has been physically erased. The basketball sequence with Detective Tom Lone became infamous for its rapid editing, but it also captures the film's playful flirtation better than the crime plot does. Sharon Stone adds polished menace, as Laurel Hedare, a former model whose beauty empire has made her powerful and bitter. Their final confrontation occurs among giant cosmetic advertisements, turning the company's false promises into the background of its collapse. With a reported $100 million budget and about $82 million worldwide, the movie was a serious loss. The weak script and frantic editing deserved criticism, but Barry's physical performance is more interesting than its reputation allows. Catwoman is not a good traditional superhero film. It is a strange, glamorous pop fantasy about confidence becoming uncontrollable. The beauty company plot is sharper than its reputation suggests. Hedare markets a product promising permanent youth, while knowing customers may suffer once they stop using it. Patience's new identity rejects that controlled image, even though her costume creates another fantasy. This contradiction gives the film accidental interest. It wants to criticize impossible standards while celebrating exaggerated perfection, and the tension between those goals appears in nearly every scene. Number 4. Sucker Punch, 2011. Reality keeps changing whenever Baby Doll closes her eyes, transforming captivity into a series of enormous fantasy missions. Emily Browning leads a group that includes Abby Cornish, Jenna Malone, Vanessa Hudgens, and Jamie Chung, all presented as performers inside a luxurious club while secretly planning an escape. Their imagined battles supply the film's famous images: a duel with giant samurai warriors, trenches filled with mechanical soldiers, a dragon assault, and a speeding train carrying a futuristic bomb. Each mission corresponds to an object the women need in the real world, so spectacle becomes a coded version of resistance. The most memorable transition occurs when Baby Doll begins to dance and the room disappears, replaced by a battlefield where fear can be confronted directly. Zack Snyder combines music video editing, ornate costumes, slow motion, and video game structure with a story far sadder than the advertising suggested. The production cost around $80 million and earned under $90 million worldwide, which was not enough to cover its full theatrical expense. Viewers expecting carefree action found bleak material, while others rejected the exaggerated imagery. Over time, however, the film has inspired serious debate about fantasy, exploitation, and who controls the story being told. Even when its ideas collide, the screen remains hypnotic. It is an expensive contradiction, empowering and uncomfortable, beautiful and grim, shallow in one moment, and unexpectedly tragic in the next. The framing story matters because the fantasies are not escapes. They are plans Baby Doll constructs to help others survive an institution where men rename, evaluate, and trade them. Scott Glenn's Wise Man turns objectives into a mission, giving the women a language of adventure reality cannot provide. The ending changes victory's meaning. Escape cannot belong to everyone, and sacrifice becomes the one power the institution cannot take away. Number 3. Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, 2014. 9 years after the first Sin City, audiences returned to Basin City and discovered that its rain-soaked streets were still crowded with beautiful liars, damaged heroes, and impossible shadows. The central story follows Dwight McCarthy, played by Josh Brolin, who is pulled back toward former lover Ava Lord. Eva Green performs Ava as a master manipulator who can make vulnerability look genuine and cruelty look romantic. Her mansion scenes with Dwight are among the film's most striking, using black and white photography, sharp silhouettes, and selective color to turn every glance into graphic art. Elsewhere, Jessica Alba's Nancy struggles with grief and prepares revenge against Senator Rourke, while Joseph Gordon-Levitt's gambler Johnny challenges the senator at a card table and learns how personal victory can become. The famous poker sequence begins with effortless confidence and ends with Rourke proving that power matters more than luck. Despite a reported $65 million budget, the sequel earned only around $39 million worldwide. The long delay damaged interest, the visual style was no longer new, and audiences had moved toward interconnected superhero franchises. Yet the movie's craftsmanship remains impressive. Green's performance alone gives the sequel a reason to exist. She understands that Ava is not merely seductive, but terrifyingly skilled at making other people invent excuses for her. The film bombed, but its best images look designed to survive longer than its box office humiliation. Number 2. Jupiter Ascending, 2015. A house cleaner in Chicago discovers that her ordinary life is connected to a royal inheritance spanning planets and thousands of years. Mila Kunis plays Jupiter Jones, whose genetic identity makes her the legal recurrence of a dead matriarch. That revelation brings Kane Wise, a winged former soldier played by Channing Tatum, racing to protect her from the Abrasax siblings. The movie's visual ambition is reckless. Spacecraft fold through skylines, royal courts float above alien worlds, and costumes appear designed for ceremonies no human has attended. One unforgettable sequence sends Jupiter through an endless chain of offices to confirm her title, turning galactic bureaucracy into a comedy of stamps, cues, and missing forms. Another places her at a vast wedding ceremony, where beauty hides a plan to steal her inheritance. Eddie Redmayne's Balaam speaks softly before exploding with anger, creating a villainous performance as extravagant as the production design. The film cost about $179 million and earned roughly $184 million worldwide, a disastrous ratio once marketing and distribution were considered. Critics attacked its complicated mythology and unusual romance, but those qualities make it fascinating now. Hollywood rarely spends this much on an original space opera led by a woman whose power comes from legal identity rather than combat. It is messy, lavish, and defiantly uncool, a royal science fiction fantasy, offering too much strangeness at once. Jupiter's personality is overlooked because she spends the story reacting to information nobody could process. Within days, she learns that Earth is property, reincarnation can be genetic, and populations are resources. Her refusal to surrender ownership therefore matters, even when she needs rescue. Sean Bean's Stinger explains the world with weary dignity, while Tatum's Kane combines soldier discipline with fairy tale devotion. Their seriousness keeps the wild mythology sincere. Number 1. Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, 2017. No other film on this list spends money with such fearless visual appetite. Dane DeHaan and Cara Delevingne play agents Valerian and Laureline, partners sent into Alpha, a gigantic space station where thousands of species share technology, culture, and secrets. Their mission begins with recovering a rare creature connected to the destroyed planet Mool, but evidence reveals that a human commander concealed a terrible decision. The opening montage is the masterpiece. Astronauts from different nations greet one another across decades as David Bowie plays, and a simple station expands into a city of countless worlds. Later, the big market chase places Valerian in 2 dimensions at once, his body running through an empty desert, while his equipment moves through a crowded virtual bazaar. Rihanna's shape-changing performer Bubble provides another dazzling sequence, shifting costumes and identities before joining the rescue mission. The film cost around $180 million and earned about $215 million worldwide, far below what such an enormous independent production required. Its stars were criticized for lacking romantic chemistry, and the story struggled beneath the design. Still, calling it ugly or lazy would be absurd. Valerian overflows with creatures, colors, architecture, fashion, and ideas that safer blockbusters would spread across 5 sequels. It is a financial cautionary tale, but also the sexiest kind of cinematic failure, ambitious, excessive, and unwilling to look ordinary. Laureline is the more capable agent, questioning orders and seeing consequences before Valerian does. Their romance may not convince everyone, but her independence centers the adventure. The Pearls of Mool are a civilization erased because leaders valued victory over truth. As the mystery unfolds, Alpha changes from a playground into evidence of responsibility. Saving them becomes a test of whether humanity deserves its place among thousands of worlds. These films proved that beauty, chemistry, and expensive style cannot guarantee a crowd. Some deserved their failure, while others were simply released at the wrong moment. Which glamorous bomb would you rescue from movie history? Leave your choice in the comments, like the video, share it with a fellow film fan, and subscribe for more forgotten cinema stories that Hollywood would rather leave buried.